we tend to push away people who are emotionally healthy and secure, only to be drawn to those who are wounded and struggling, a phenomenon that raises more questions about our own psyches than it answers. Behind this counterintuitive behavior lies a complex web of insecurities and unresolved traumas, where our deep-seated needs for control and validation drive us to attract and even recreate past patterns of rejection and pain. If you've ever found yourself inexplicably drawn to someone who's always busy or not ready for a relationship, or someone who constantly pushes you away, you're not alone in this feeling. In this video, we're going to delve into the dark psychology behind this phenomenon and explore the often unspoken reasons why we're so drawn to those who are emotionally unavailable and insecure. As humans, we often seek validation of our own self-worth, and we find it in people who seem to mirror our own insecurities, a symbiotic relationship where we convince ourselves we're helping them heal, when in reality, we're just reinforcing our own emotional dysfunctions. This phenomenon speaks to a fundamental aspect of the human psyche, where our insecurities and fears attract us to those who we perceive as a challenge, a puzzle we feel compelled to solve, often with disastrous results. In our quest for love and connection, we often settle for people who are emotionally unavailable because it reinforces our own sense of control, allowing us to convince ourselves that we're the ones doing the healing, when in truth, we're just reenacting unresolved childhood traumas. Emotional unavailability often masks deep-seated insecurities and fears of intimacy, leaving us with the illusion that we're the ones fixing them, when in reality, we're trapped in our own ego-driven agendas, driven by a desperate need for validation. The truth is, people who are emotionally unavailable are often incredibly skilled at self-deception, using their perceived vulnerability to manipulate others into investing in them, while secretly holding onto their emotional shields. Our attraction to those who are emotionally unavailable is often rooted in our own fears of being hurt. But what we're really hiding from is the vulnerability required to truly love and connect with another human being. And this refusal to confront our own emotional vulnerabilities only perpetuates a cycle of addiction and heartache. When we're drawn to people who are emotionally unavailable and insecure, it's not because we're naturally inclined towards chaos, but because we're searching for someone who validates our own deep-seated insecurities, someone who confirms our worst fears about ourselves. Their lack of emotional availability is often a facade, a carefully crafted defense mechanism designed to conceal their own vulnerabilities, and we're somehow convinced that if we just prove ourselves worthy enough, they'll finally open up to us. But the truth is, this isn't a game of earning their love or affection. It's a subtle form of emotional manipulation. In reality, their emotional unavailability is a reflection of their own inner turmoil, a desperate attempt to regain a sense of control and agency in a world that seems to be spinning out of control. And yet, we find ourselves inexplicably drawn to this void, this abyss that threatens to consume us whole because deep down we're terrified of being alone, of being unloved or unworthy. It's a toxic cycle of self-deception, where we convince ourselves that we deserve love and attention, that we're worthy of being loved, and will do whatever it takes to get it, even if it means sacrificing our own well-being and self-respect. But the more we chase after these emotionally unavailable individuals, the more we reinforce their defenses, the more we perpetuate a cycle of fear and avoidance. Ultimately, our attraction to people who are emotionally unavailable is a manifestation of our own unresolved issues, a desperate attempt to fill the void within ourselves. It's a call to self-reflection, a chance for us to confront the fears and insecurities that have been driving our choices all along, and to learn to love ourselves first. Our pursuit of the unattainable is not driven by a desire for love or connection, but rather a desperate attempt to prove our worth to ourselves and to others, a cry for validation in the face of deep-seated insecurity. We're often drawn to those who are emotionally unavailable because they represent a challenge, a puzzle to be solved, a thrill to be exploited, the ultimate high-wire act of emotional manipulation and control. Beneath the facade of attraction and desire lies a tangled web of fear and vulnerability, as we're drawn to the one person who is most likely to reject and break us, thus confirming our own worst fears and insecurities. The truth is, we're not seeking love or intimacy with these individuals, but rather a fleeting sense of validation and self-worth, a temporary reprieve from the crushing weight of our own emotional pain and inadequacy. We convince ourselves that we're worthy of love, that we deserve better, but in reality, we're settling for scraps of attention, scraps of affection, scraps of validation from someone who is fundamentally unavailable and incapable of meeting our needs. Our attraction to these emotionally unavailable and insecure individuals is not a quirk of fate or a mere coincidence, but rather a reflection of our own deep-seated flaws and weaknesses, our own desperate attempts to escape the discomfort and uncertainty of our own emotional vulnerability. Their attraction to emotionally unavailable partners often stems from a deep-seated need for validation, which they may or may not even recognize themselves. This unhealthy dynamic can serve as a smokescreen for their own insecurities and vulnerabilities, shielding them from an unflinching look at their own emotional unavailability. People who are drawn to others with low emotional intelligence may be inadvertently searching for an individual who can temporarily alleviate their fears of abandonment or rejection. They are drawn to those who will consistently push the boundaries, only to retreat just enough to spark their obsession, in an intricate power struggle for control and validation. Their attraction to insecurity mirrors their own insecurities, creating a twisted form of familiarity that resonates with their fragile ego. Through their pursuit of these emotionally unavailable partners, they are engaging in a form of self-deception, rationalizing their involvement as a sign of selflessness, rather than acknowledging the primal need for validation that drives it. When we repeatedly choose partners who are emotionally unavailable and insecure, it's often because we're attempting to validate our own sense of self-worth through their love and validation, rather than cultivating it within ourselves. These individuals often exhibit characteristics that trigger a deep-seated fear within us, a fear that we're somehow inadequate or unlovable, and by choosing them, we're essentially trying to prove to ourselves that we're worthy of love. We're drawn to the chaos and uncertainty that surrounds these individuals because it makes us feel like we're needed, like we're the ones who can finally bring stability and love into their lives, when in reality, we're often just reinforcing a cycle of codependency. The pursuit of someone who is emotionally unavailable is often a misguided attempt to fill a void within ourselves, to make up for the lack of nurturing and support we received during our own childhood. We may be attracted to someone who is insecure because it makes us feel powerful and in control, like we're the ones holding the reins in the relationship, rather than recognizing that our own insecurities are actually the driving force behind our desire for them. By repeatedly choosing partners who are not emotionally available, we're reinforcing our own deep-seated fears and insecurities rather than confronting and working through them, and this self-deception can be a crippling cycle to break. As we conclude this video, it's essential to acknowledge the brutal yet honest truth that our society often values emotional unavailability and insecurity over authentic connection, leaving many of us stuck in toxic patterns. Take a moment to reflect on your own life and patterns. Are you drawn to those who make you feel seen, heard, and valued, or are you settling for relationships that perpetuate a cycle of emotional pain? If you've found personal resonance in this video, be sure to like, comment below with your observations, and subscribe for more content that delves into the complexities of human psychology.